133.2. And then TnB champion, or RZDV 2000, or as I call him, Rob. How's it going, Rob? Get through this. So what have you seen in the qualifying so far? And is it just me, or are there raindrops?
It's raining. It just started to rain about on the 5-minute mark. 5 minutes left started to rain. And then the drops started to come down. But so far it has been a normal qualifying session. The guys you expect at the top are at the top.
You know, for real, he put in a good lap for 133.7, currently third.
He retired because of the rain that started to fall.
Well, you're definitely not gonna get any faster. So yeah, we're at the Circuit of Americas. We know it's a difficult circuit. It's got a little bit of everything. How are those S's in Q1? I believe you had a bit of a practice session earlier.
They were fun. It's actually a nice track, so it's one of my stronger tracks as well. So, track that I like.
Well, you seem to enjoy the more difficult things.
It's a fun track. I want to just say that.
Just rode on board briefly there with Judge, but he was coming into the pits. We have TnB DW, he's in sector 3. Currently on that 133.7, he'll want to improve on that. 0.5 of a second, or call it half a second off the pace. But I think he comes in, he's not going to improve. That could have been worse. He's
lucky that he survived that.
Yes, I'm glad I got that on the stream, but yeah, he's lucky to have survived that. That could have gone horribly wrong. Well, no one out on track. So
that's the end of
that's the end of Q1. We'll give you the results in just a second. It's been a complicated Q1, so not too familiar with the results. From what we saw at the end of Q1, I think we're going to have a wet Q2. Well, let's read through the results. First place, Wazzy with that 133.2. Second, DW. Third, Vinno for Real. Fourth, Y-Racer. Fifth, Ronald. Sixth, Springbok Gamer. Seventh, TnB Wes. Eighth, Gav. Ninth, Cowboy. And 10th, Bose Wolf. That means you got both Red Bulls, both Toro Rossos in the top 10. Obviously Red Bull winning in round 1 in Austria, actually taking a 1-2 at the Red Bull ring. Let's see what they can do today. And now we're in Q2, and it looks like well, the rain it's definitely worse. Well, I think there's only one option here, surely just intermediates.
Yeah.
We haven't got any word from the drivers, have we? In terms of where they're going forward into the race. So we don't really know what this weather will lead to. Will it be better in Q3? Will it be worse? Well, we've got a few men out on track. Actually ride with Deathseeker as he goes off circuit, so conditions are probably not ideal. I think the guys that do practice for the race, they don't spend as much time on the wet. And there Wes just running wide and taking the polystyrene with him. We've got 11 cars out on circuit, all doing their outlaps, just 4 cars remaining in the pits. So Judge, Springbok Gamer, Morris and Y Racer, they're sitting in the pits. Don't want to get involved in all this traffic.
Remember, Morris he's not supposed to be in quali. He has a quali ban, so.
I'm not quite sure if he was. Sorry, I probably didn't read the rules properly, but I'm not 100% sure if he was supposed to retire at the beginning of Q1 or at the end of Q1. But
he retired at the start of Q1, but he got through because Henry got disqualified.
Yeah, well, then he's retired now, so there shouldn't be any issues with that. No lap times as of yet, but a lot of cars out on circuit.
Let's just get some stuff up here.
Judge now on an outlap. Actually 14 cars out on track. Just Springbok Gamer sitting in the pits now. It's a lonely pit lane. But what do you make of this rain? Will it improve or will it get worse?
Honestly, I think it might get worse because there is not really any blue sky at this stage that I can see. Oh, there is. Never mind. Ooh, and Dave Seeker goes round. It's the berry, but doesn't look like he lost anything.
Could actually be. There could be a possibility of a strong weekend here for Force India, because did show some pace there in Q1. We know all about Wazzy. And then the Red Bull drivers that finished 1-2, maybe we'll have a battle between the Force Indias and the Red Bulls. But the weather could seriously change those plans. We don't know what we're going to get in the race, so we're just going to have to wait and see. I seriously need a weather report in spectator mode. Make a note of that, Codemasters. Weather report in spectator mode. Ronald for the time being.
That's not bad.
Ronald for the time being, a 147.8 takes provisional pole. DW now second, 148 flat. Not much in it. Looks P third. 148.1. And look at that, Wazzy takes provisional pole, a 147.3. It's a whole 0.3 faster than Ronald. Let's have a look who's on their outlaps. Follow the horse.
On a flyer.
Let's have a look at that. Y Racer, the other Red Bull driver, see partnering up with TnB DW this season. Had a great debut, these two teammates. And I think a Red Bull 1-2 at the Red Bull ring, I think that would seriously impress the bosses. Let's see what he can come up with. Car just squirming there a little bit. Conditions obviously not easy. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm starting to notice a little bit more. The sun? There are hints of blue here and there.
Yeah, I see the sun. Yeah, so it might actually get easier.
Y Racer over the line, goes second with a 147.5. Actually quicker than his teammate. On a 148 flat.
In the final corner. The top four very close to each other.
I'm sure there's more to come. We've got some men that are really quick that haven't really come to the party just yet. Gavin currently in 7th, 149.0. But we don't know what's going to happen as the session goes on. Still 8 minutes. If the track improves, then the track improves in any way, then your fastest laps are going to be the guys that go out last. If Seeker goes over the line, he's going to start a fast lap. Toro Rosso just getting out of the way for the Haas driver, yet to set a lap time. Springbok Gamer also yet to set a lap time. It's only the two drivers so far. And as I say that, Springbok Gamer is on his way out of the pits.
Okay, I just saw something really weird.
And what was that?
The Haas with the McLaren of Ronald.
Remember, you're my second set of eyes, so if you see something good,
But it was
point
lag
it out.
related, so...
Okay, I don't point out lag related. Nobody wants to see that. Racer into the pits. I think he'll be happy with that time. 7 minutes remaining. Will be you think the guys that are clearly through to Q3 will come out and have another go, or just the guys that are at threat? Obviously if it dries up, then I think everyone's going to get out there.
But
I think a good way actually to see these track conditions is to watch what can Springbok Gamer come up with, because we know he's got relative pace, and he's on the intermediate, and he's probably the last car that's come out to set a lap time. So if he shows some pace, then we know the track's better, but I still see a lot of spray on those tyres. Betsika is coming into the pits without setting a lap time, so currently sitting in 13th, but that's as a result of not having set a lap time yet. Let's ride with Springbok Gamer. Starting a fast lap. And he goes up to the famous turn 1 here in the USA. It's a 40-meter climb. Over just a couple of milliseconds, so it sort of feels like a roller coaster going up there. And he goes through the S's. Very important part of the circuit, and went through there a little bit tentatively, but you know that this driver in particular doesn't use any assist, so difficult conditions. Have a look who else is out on track. Cowboy just coming into the pits, and Gavin in sector 2. Rory rather currently sitting 7th, got that 149 flat, currently 2 seconds off the pace. He'll be looking for an improvement. I don't believe that's his pace. I'm sure he made a mistake on his initial lap. Go back with Springbok Gamer right on board with him. As I say that, either that was lag or he ran wide. Goes into this final corner. Let's see what kind of lap he can come up with. goes 10th. He's not going to be happy with the traction he got off that final corner. As he put the foot down, the car just squirmed a little bit too much. And there we go. Gavin showing his pace, a 147.1. Knew he had more in him than 7th. And he's gotten in there between the Force India and the Red Bull of Y Racer. Try have a look who's out on track. TnB DW, he's out on track, currently 5th. He's got that 140, he's got a 147.6. Obviously now with Sector 2 being a wet session, that means if we go into the race and it's a dry race, then you have freedom of choice in tyre selection. So you can start on whatever tyre you want, and that opens up a whole lot of strategies that you could employ. Now Springbok Gamer, he's on an in-lap, currently 10th. So he is in the danger zone. If that's a 1, nothing in it. And I'm sure I think he'll get out there and have another go. He could be eliminated from Q3. It seems like he's coming into the pits with 2 minutes remaining.
Oh, he misses.
And he misses the pit entry. No, Robbie, we were speaking earlier and I told you that this pit entry is a carbon copy of Kyalami's pit entry. And if I told you how many times I crashed going into that pit entry on World Superbikes, it's not as easy as it looks.
No, it's not, especially when it's wet.
Try and have a look who's out on circuit. Wolf is out on circuit, and it seems like I keep on doing it. As soon as I go on board with somebody, they run wide or they cut a corner. So I don't know what to do. I want to give you coverage, but then I'm just going to curse all the drivers.
W's also on a lap.
Cowboy currently...
He goes wide.
Cowboy currently out on a lap. He's in Sector 1. Currently got that 150.4. So if he can improve by 4 tenths, then he's going to be promoted to Q3. As I mentioned earlier, Springbok Gamer was in the danger zone. Captain Nice also out on track in the Mercedes. He's got a 150.7. Also not far off. Judge goes 11th, doesn't improve enough to take him into Q3. Let's have a look, where is Cowboy? Still in Sector 2.
I think Springbok Gamer is stressing a bit to hope he gets into Q2.
Springbok Gamer is retired from the session. So obviously he knows there's not enough time to do anything, and he's just got to wait and see if he's going to make it. Just have a look at Cowboy. He's the one that can probably take it away, if anyone. Currently in Sector 3 of his fast lap. Toro Rosso driver. He's going to go around the final corner onto the pit straight, and let's see if he can improve. Currently a 150.4, and he's gone 10. He's pushed Springbok Gamer out, and he'll be in Q3. Nicely done.
Question is, what can Captain Ice do on this final lap? It's up by 3 tenths so far.
Captain Ice currently a 150.1. Cowboy's got the 149.7, so 4 tenths in it. Like you said, he's 3 tenths up, so I think there's nothing in it at the moment. See what he can do in Sector 3. Approaching now the final corner.
He runs out of fuel.
He runs out of fuel, and that will be the end of his qualifying session. Looks like he'll Oh well, that horse got awfully close.
Actually,
It seems like that is going to be your session. I don't think anyone else is out on circuit. Got Ronald out on circuit. But, I don't think it's me. I don't see the other cars bouncing around, but the McLaren bouncing around a little bit. And he goes, well, second. He's second. Let's just wait for the results.
I didn't even see him finish his lap.
Didn't see it either, but he finished second. Nicely done. Just going to wait for the final standings. And there they are. First place goes to TnB Wazzy. 147 flat. Nicely done. Ronald comes out in second. 147 flat as well. Nothing in it. 9 thousandths of a second. Gavin third. DW fourth. Got Y Racer in fifth. Wolf sixth. Luxemp in seventh. Death Seeker eighth. Vinner ninth. And then TnB Weather coming up in the top 10. So Cowboy did get pushed out at the end of the day there by just a tenth of a second. So now we await Q3 and we await to see what will the weather look like. And wait for it. And there we go. I don't see any raindrops, do you?
No. It's amazing how quickly the track dries up in the game.
I think
we're still running at the end of the session.
I think what you might find here in Q3 with these conditions is the guys are going to go out initially on slick tires and set lap times. But I think that their second run at it is going to be much faster because this track will just get better as the session comes to an end. I think the last man on circuit will have a distinct advantage. There's probably one occasion you don't need to rush out onto track. Wait just a little. You don't know the condition of the track. It could still be wet. It could be a little bit slippery on the slicks for the first couple of laps, so be careful. You don't want to lose it and retire from Q3.
There's no spray coming off the tires, Johnny. So track is dry.
Just goes through the cars that are out on an out lap. Got Death Seeker for Haas.
He was first out.
The Wolf for Toro Rosso. Y Racer for Red Bull. Ronald in the McLaren. Luxemp for Alpha. And then Wazzy in the Force India. So that's 5 cars out of the 10 currently out on circuit. So Death Seeker was the first one out of the pits. Let's put some stats up here. There we go. Screen looks a bit better. So no lap times just yet. We still wait to see what sort of pace do these guys have on slicks on a drying circuit. It was wet just a session ago, so I'm sure there's still elements of the track that aren't just right.
Yeah, that's to rub it in from start again, so
We're following the Haas driver, Death Seeker, just so we can see what will be the first lap put in. That will be the gauntlet that is set. First lap of the session. Feels good though to get the purple and you're in pole, even if it's not going to last.
yeah.
On the ultra soft, Just running wide a little bit there. Maybe not fully confident on the tyres. A little bit of a squirm. Goes around the final corner. Seems like Ronald was actually the first man out. He set a 1:33.7 for provisional pole. Dead Seeker goes over the line, 1:35.9. What do you see on your
screen? He's
screen?
only entering into the final corner now.
Has he set a lap time?
On my screen, he has, but he's only across the finish line now.
Let's just have a look what is happening there.
He's now at turn 1.
Okay, on my screen, and what the viewers can see, he's okay, I was gonna say he's approaching the back straight, but he's disappeared and reappeared way down the track twice now, so clearly something wrong with that connection. Rob, I don't know if you co-commentated with me in a tier 2 race, or if I commentated by myself when I had my first encounter with that McLaren, and it was a very difficult race. 9th and 17th every lap, so I didn't know who the leader was until the end of the race, till the results came up. Blind commentary.
And look at that,
now look at that.
1 2.
Just riding on board with Wazzy there in sector 3. Oh, that's not good. I saw contact with Ronald, but Wazzy goes fastest, so was it really Ronald? All bets are off when it comes to the orange car. I don't know where he is on circuit, so we're going to try and not commentate too much on him, because we're probably just going to be wrong.
With me, it showed he was coming around the second corner and all of a sudden he disappeared into the pits.
Okay, I can't actually select his name, so not entirely sure what's happening there.
Wes is now on the left. Gavin's running the final corner.
Onto the pit straight he goes, the Ferrari driver. 1:33.1. Not much in it, 4/10. And I believe this track's going to be faster second time round.
TnB is starting a fast lap. Who loses it around the final corner?
Rosie comes into the pits, currently provisional pole 1:32.7. Y-Racer 1:32.9. So he's gone second. Gav was second briefly. Now he's got the two Red Bulls in between himself and pole. Obviously DW third, Gavin currently fourth, and Wolf fifth. That's your top five. As far as I can tell, Ronald is sixth. Rufino seventh, Luxempi eighth, and then Deathseeker ninth. TnB Wes yet to set a lap time. He is in sector 3, so he should be able to fill that timing screen pretty soon. See what he can come up with. Gapig just taken pole. Very nicely done. A 1:32.4. So taking 3/10 out of that time from Wazzy. Wazzy's going to have to come out and have a second go, but like I say, I just think the track's going to improve. See what Wes can come up with. Seems like he was still on his outlet. But Rob, will you have a look on your screen? Is Wes's car jumping?
A bit, yeah.
Okay. Just keep note of that for the race. Ronald seems to have retired from the session. His name's been grayed out. Was he on an outlap? He's not going to be happy with starting in second place. He wants to start in first place, so he's going to have a go at it. He's going to have to find 3/10 of a second. We'll let him finish his outlap and we'll come back to him. Let's see what else is going on. Y-Racer, T and DW, both Red Bulls sitting in the pits at the moment. No movement from them for the time being. Wolf's currently in fifth. He's on an outlap, so he's going to try and improve on that. We've got Bino, he's sitting in the pits. XMP currently 8th. He's starting a fast lap. Goes into turn 1. Keep an eye on what he can come up with. Currently a 1:35.2. And then we've got Dead Seeker also on an outlap, currently 9th. Where's the only man not to have set a lap? And as I say that, over the line, 6th place, 1:33.5. 2 minutes remain on the clock. Now we've got Wazzy in the pink Force India. Goes around the final corner and over the pit straight. He's going to start his final lap, his final fast lap. Let's just see what can he do here in sector 1. Will we see purple? Needs to find 3/10. He's going to reclaim pole position. He makes those S's look so easy. Don't quite know how he does that.
Gavin clearly has confidence.
Gavin has retired from the session. He's happy with that. And judging by the times, I think the only men that could probably challenge it are, well, times are actually pretty close. Just 0.8 of a second between that top 6. So, not even a second in it. As he now in sector 3, coming up.
He backed off.
He was coming up on his teammate, and I'm not sure if that's what put him off, or if he could just see by the sector times that.
Yeah, he goes again.
Gonna go now.
Validated.
Just 9 seconds on the clock. He's gonna go over the line with 5 seconds on the clock. Try and have a look who else is on circuit. Y-Racer going very slowly. Got Flixenpy. He's currently in sector 3. So this will be his final go at it. Goes through that incredibly long right-hander that doesn't seem to end. That's one of my favorites. Into the final corner. Let's see if he can improve. He's currently 4th with a 1:33.1, not bad pace. But he's going to stay 4th. Does not improve.
DW now entering the final sector.
See what we can get from the Red Bull driver. I know that right-hander is supposed to be individual corners, but I just call it the long right-hander. Final corner over the pit straight. Currently has a 1:33.1. He's in 5th. Can he improve? No, he doesn't. He stays 1:33.1. He'll stay 5th for now, unless Vino can pull out a flyer.
Last corner.
Looks like it was he. We get footage of him now into the final corner. And he goes past us a 1:32.0. He needed to find 3/10. Found much more than that. Very nicely done. Y-Racer retires from the session. And the session has come to an end. So that's the end of qualifying. We'll read you the official results in just a second. Not quite sure what's happening with the orange car, but we'll keep our eyes on that in the beginning of the race. It's a good qualifying session. Wazzy came back. So there we go. First place goes to Wazzy. Came in with that 132.0 right at the end. Gavin second with a 132.4. Y Racer third. We've got Blixenp in fourth. DW fifth. Wolf in sixth. Wezzo came out seventh. Ronald eighth. Vinner for real ninth. And then Dead Seeker 10th. I think Vinner will be a little bit disappointed with 9th. He showed a lot of pace in Q1.
Yeah.
And here we go. Qualifying has ended and now all the real stuff begins. 100% race distance. Default setups. And those S's in Sector 1 should be interesting. Tell you one thing, if everybody drove like me through Sector 1, the whole field would be out before lap 1 was completed. It's just not a good track for me. In an F1 car or a MotoGP bike, just this track. And there we go, finally we're gonna start the formation lap. It's just while we're on this formation lap, we can just go down the field. Obviously Wazzy, he took pole. We've got Gavin there in second, Y Racer third, Blixenp fourth, DW in fifth. I think he'll be happy with fifth. All you need is a good start, just need to keep it clean here. It's a very important first part of the lap. Wolf in sixth, Wes in seventh, Ronald in eighth. Just keeping an eye on the McLaren, it looks good for now. Don't see anything wrong on screen. Looks like Vinno and Dead Seeker have already been disqualified, so we can't get a view of 9th and 10th. And then the guys that didn't see Q3, 11th place, Cowboy 33, just really got eliminated from Q3 right at the end there. Springbok Gamer 12th. We've got Captain Ice 13th, Judge 14th, Morrison 15th, but we're not going to get a view of him. Seems like he's also been disqualified, so 3 cars disqualified. And then Staffy in 17th for the Ferrari. Just go back to your leader, to your pole sitter. It's going to be a 56 lap race. I know, Rob, you wish you were on the grid, don't you? You like this place.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. Unfortunately, I can't drive it at this stage.
You know, Marc Marquez is undefeated at this track on like 6 attempts. Something like that.
Sheesh. It's not bad.
Absolute king of this circuit.
Interesting camera for the start of the race.
I have a camera from the rear.
Wing.
Well, I'm looking at it from the back. I'm looking at it from just over Springbok Gamers Reynolds. But there's the red lights. 3, 4, 5. Pause. And away we go. That is a very good start. Don't know if it was a jump start. Didn't see anything on my screen. And, well, not quite sure what happened there into turn 1. A bit of lag. Cars jumping around. Just have a look at that McLaren there, Rob, and tell me what you think. Well, currently Gavin did take the lead. Wazzy there in second. Blixenp in third for Salva. Seems like Judge has retired from the race. Not quite sure what happened there. We were just running with the leaders, so didn't see what happened at the back of the queue. Y-Racer currently in fourth. DW still in fifth. Hasn't changed the position. Wolf has also maintained his starting position. He's in sixth. Ronald down to seventh. Vino up to eighth. Cowboy in ninth. So he's in Heno's teammate in 11th. So here's a nice one for you, Rob. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Merc got 10th and 11th. Oh, I love it. Then you've got Springbok Gamer in 12th.
9th and 10th.
10th and 11th on my screen.
Ronald is in 16th.
On my screen, Ronald is in 7th.
And 9th and 10th.
So, just be careful when announcing things, because
he jumped up
into what, 7th?
Shit, Ronald's in first.
Ronald's in first?
Into the lead.
No, I don't think he's into the lead. I see cars in front of him.
I'm just gonna ignore.
Unfortunately, Ronald, we do apologize, but we're gonna try and not focus too much on your car because it's messing with the timing screens. We don't actually know where you are, and we might be commentating on completely the wrong thing. Gavin still leads. He's built up a little bit of a gap. He's got a cushion of a second. It's an important gap that you want to get out of any DRS zone before DRS becomes active. Very long back straight here in the USA, and DRS can be menacing. Sorry, Rob.
One interest.
I'm out again. Still in the party, right? Nope.
Welcome back, Jono. Jono, you there? Jono.
Sorry about that.
No
having
problem.
a few technical issues, but yeah, we are live. For some reason, the stream didn't actually cut. So, if you were talking to yourself, now's a good time to tell me to edit this.
I was actually keeping quiet. As Gavin makes a big mistake, he runs wide, and he loses a place to
I actually got that footage. I was on the Ferrari driver when he ran wide. So he's given up another place now. He's given up second place to the Sauber driver, to Blitzenby. And was he now got a 2.5 lead, 2.5 second lead gap there at the front. And 2.6, it's starting to grow. Wow Racer, the first of the Red Bull drivers, he's in 4th place. He's coming up to the back of that Ferrari. So the fight's not quite over for Gavin yet. He's trying to get past Blitzenby while worrying about Y Racer behind him. So
as he runs wide again.
They go 3 wide and Gavin has to go off circuit. And currently they stay in position. Seems like Blitzenby cut the corner there a little bit. Didn't get a... Actually, I think it was Gav.
Nah, it was Blitzenby.
Somebody went a little bit straight there at the S's.
And on my screen, Ronald is in the lead and sector 3. But that's not...
Okay, if you... I think what's best is if you do see him in a crazy position, tell me.
Don't talk about it.
No, tell me. And then if I see him in a crazy position, tell you. Just so that we don't commentate on the wrong thing. Now he's in 5th, so I don't know. Whatever.
9, 14th. Oh, there's a crash. Or not.
Captain Ice gets a 5-second stop-go penalty for corner cutting.
It's a 4-5-way battle for 7. Ooh!
Captain Ice, 5-second stop-go penalty, severe collision with Springbok Gamer. That's what I read on my screen, and Captain Ice has retired from the session. Just have a look. Not really sure what happened. I just saw the warning. So we'll go and ride on board with Springbok Gamer. He's missing the right-hand side of his wing. So obviously contact between Captain Ice and Springbok Gamer that we didn't get footage of, but Springbok Gamer is going to come into the pits. Wing badly damaged.
I was busy with that, but I can't tell you what happened. Because I don't even know what happened.
So he's going to come into the pits.
And
change the nose. And he's going to lose a few positions. While he still leads, lead continues to grow, 5.5 seconds now. The man who only announced he might be here today. What's funny is he probably hasn't had that much preparation. With Gavin in 2nd place. Y Racer in 3rd, and look at these two battle for 2nd, Ferrari and Red Bull. Y Racer wants that position. And probably see the pink car of Wazzy disappearing into the distance, and he needs to get past this Ferrari. It's bobbing and weaving. Inside line. Gavin goes a little bit wider than he would have liked, and Y Racer goes into 2nd place. Nicely done, clean pass. Gavin allowed him the space. And it's just clean driving all around.
It looks like Gavin is struggling on that set of ultra softs.
It's
Oh,
just keep your eyes on that gap between Y Racer and Wazzy. Like to see if
Gavin is next to him.
these two not finished yet. As Gavin retakes second place. And obviously with these two battling, things couldn't be better for Wazzy. Now Gavin gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And that's something you need to keep track of in the race, because you might get all excited for a podium position only to find out that that didn't happen. Because the car you've been battling with for the past 10 laps was just going to pass you anyway.
Y Racer going for movement to turn 1 again.
Now up the hill. And there we go, passes him again, same place on the circuit. Nice racing between these two.
DW's on Blacksonpy.
Have a look at this. Got two Red Bulls on track, both of them in battles of their own. Start for second between the Salba and the Red Bull. Blacksonpy and DW. Now DW is on a set of softs. And it's actually the only man in the race on a set of softs. But Wazzy and Y Racer, your first and second place, they're on a set of super softs. And you've got Wolf and Vino for real. And 13th and 15th, they're on super softs. The rest of the field's on ultras. And then DW on softs. He's taken 5th. He's going to be able to go long into this race.
All of a sudden Ronald's in second place.
We'll have to see how the strategy works out, but on my screen he's in 4th.
My screen is second.
I just hope that this is just more of a visual thing, what we're seeing on screen, and I hope that DW isn't seeing a jumping McLaren in front of him. Gavin has gone into the pits, so currently in 6th. Let's see where he comes out.
He's gonna rejoin in 6th.
Seems like he's gonna rejoin the race in 6th. Y Racer claims a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So Y Racer and Gavin, they seem to be racing each other, and now both of them have 3-second time penalties to cancel each other out. So now obviously Y Racer is going to be able to go longer than Gavin. He's got a set of supers on that car. Ronald, the highest man in the field on a set of ultras, currently in 3rd. Let's ride with DW. DW now starting to challenge. Briefly there was just a 1/10 of a second between the two, really getting up on the gearbox of that McLaren. But if he's seeing what we're seeing, I'm sure he's not quite sure what he wants to do.
He went past him.
On your screen?
I don't know what's going on.
Well, on my screen, DW is in 4th place, Ronald is in 3rd. There's 7/10 of a second between the two of them, and they're entering the pit straight. That's what I see. Y Racer currently in 2nd place. He hasn't been able to make an impact and close the gap to Wazzy. That gap now extended to 8.3 seconds, so he continues to get away at the front. It's just lap 10 of 56. If he were to continue at this rate, finish a minute ahead. Another 3-second time penalty being shown on screen, this time for Blacksonpy.
There's a battle for 7th.
Let's go
Cowboy
down.
and TnB West.
Let's go down to 7th and have a look at that. Goes in the Alpha, fighting Cowboy in the Toro Rosso. Cowboy now picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. So a lot of corner cutting. Ooh. And there's been contact. Cowboy's been spun around. It's just I'm just gonna follow Cowboy, see if he loses any positions. Henno was 22 seconds behind, so I think he'll maintain position, but he's lost 22 seconds. He's lost 22 seconds to Wes in the process.
He's got heavy wing damage.
Let's just have a look if we can see that. He's probably going to have to come in. Well, Wes got away with that. Don't see any damage on his car. Still going around in 7th. 6th place, Gavin. He pitted early. Now he's on a set of super softs. He'll obviously have to stop again, I presume. You did some practice. You have a better idea of how far can you go on supers.
You can go far.
Lifespan? Could you do to the end of the race?
Ultras at 25%. When we went to the track, I had a 3-stop plan from 3 sets of ultras and 1 set of supers.
Okay.
And DW qualified on the supers had a 2-stop plan. So you can make a 1-stop happen, but you lose 10 seconds according to earlier.
Actually quite a pretty long track, this 5.5 kilometers. Seems like, well, Wazzy's coming into the pits. Your leader into the pits. He had a gap of 7 seconds down to Y Racer. So surely this is going to release the Red Bulls, and as I say that, Y Racer comes into the pits. So 1st and 2nd both in the pits. That's going to promote DW into the lead. Wazzy's come out on a set of softs.
Gavin's out.
That's the end of the race for Gavin. You didn't see that.
Safety car.
We've got a safety car. This could really throw a spanner in the works. Who's going to jump into the pits and try to get a free pit stop? This could really switch things around. Gavin had one last impact on the race. Bring out the safety car and retire in style.
I'm just trying to see where
He'll be disappointed. He only had 2 laps on the. Well, I'm just gonna follow Henno around, see if I can see the Ferrari. I didn't even see the Ferrari on track.
The accident must have crashed coming out of the final corner.
Well, okay, Staffy is a minute. There we go. You must just watch when they pass Gavin. They're going around the pit entry. So did he hit the wall? You see that? As they go around that final corner, they pass Gavin. So the retirement must have been on the final corner. There we go, safety car. Got a queue behind it. DW won't be too pleased with this. He would have wanted to have that cushion of the pit stop, the advantage of going deep into the race, but now he's got Wazzy starting right behind him on exactly the same tyre, just a much fresher set. So think if you're going longer into the race, the safety car affects you probably a little bit more negatively. Also worked out well for Wazzy. Came out in second after the pit stop. Still under safety car conditions, lap 13 of 56. Gavin had a retirement in what seems to be around the last corner of the circuit, and that brought out the safety car. If you have a look at the tyres, Rob, you'll see that everyone has fresh tyres. The oldest tyres on circuit are that of the leader, 12 laps old. And then Staffy's still on that set of ultra softs that are 9 laps old. Everyone else, very fresh tyres. Now we can have a bit of
a... Too late for the safety car are just too late for the W to actually go into the pits. Because we already passed the pit entry and Gavin crashed out.
Safety cars can be a thing of life. Just depends where you are on circuit when it comes out. Could work in your favor and could work very much against the strategy you had in mind. Let's just go down to 13th. Morris. Seems like everyone is in the queue. So safety cars in this lap. So let's just ride on board with your leaders then. DW, Wazzy, Y-Racer, Ronald, Blixenp, that's your top 5. And let's see what they can do on the restart. And there we go. Seems like they're getting going. The DRS has been enabled. Now Wazzy right on the back of DW, just 0.3 of a second in it. Won't do anything this lap. Didn't have DRS yet on that straight. But he's got the fresher tyre, just really needs to be patient. He's going to have the superior grip and superior traction.
See?
He's able to maintain his position and also on a set of softs. So seems like Y-Racer and Wazzy are on the same strategy. Y-Racer goes into the back of another car. I saw that on my screen, not sure if it was lag because I don't see any damage. Still in third.
Looks no, it was Wazzy on my screen. Y-Racer avoided it.
Blixenp fourth. Ronald, well, I think he's 5th. And I said,
he's showing 12th.
Hey? Well, on my screen is showing 4th. So, good luck with that. So basically, from what I can take from that, anything I read to you below Ronald is probably going to be wrong. And he's just gone up to 3rd, so... Ronald has just passed Y-Racer on my screen for 3rd. If this is correct, it's one hell of a drive. Coming up now on the back of TnB Wazzy in 2nd. Follows the pink car around, and as 1st and 2nd battle, there's a battle for 1st, and 3rd is coming up on the back of them. These are going to get very interesting. They go through the S's, line astern, nothing in it, 0.3, make it 0.5 of a second between the top 3. Ronald's advantage over the two men in front of him is that he's on a set of super softs. But if he's going to make this strategy work, he needs to get past them. He had the inside line there, but not sure what he did, but he backed off. Allowed Y-Racer to get back past. And now down the straight. Y-Racer and Ronald continue this battle.
Was he in DW in battle?
Always great to see a battle between these two. Obviously great mates. Both quick drivers. I see a lot of respect between these two. Probably see the best driving. Well, Ronald went into the pits. Ronald's been disqualified from the session. Ronald's been disqualified.
On my screen is first. And there, yep.
Ronald's been disqualified from the session for ignoring a stop-go penalty. That's what I read on my screen. So he's been disqualified. He'll go to the bottom of that list, below the DNFs. And Wes has just retired.
Ooh, hello.
Wes has just retired.
That's pretty scary. He's standing in the middle of the track.
I would be, well, this game can be quite silly at times, but surely that is a safety car situation.
Safety car. Yeah, and there you go.
And there we go, safety car is out for the second time in this race. It's going to bring everybody together again. What should DW do? Everyone's on a fresh set of tyres, so if he does pit, he's just going to come out at the back of the field.
At the back.
So
Springbok Gamer has a penalty spitting on the safety car.
First safety car didn't really work in the vet's favour, DW's favour. And now this second one is, yeah, no, this is really not helping his situation.
He's gonna come out in behind Springbok Gamer if he pits now. So, not really gonna help him if he pits now.
So at this stage, lap 17 of 56, DW, well, they're behind a safety car, but DW still leads the race. Was he in second on a much fresher set of soft tyres, so he does have the advantage. Blixenpie's in third. He's got a set of supers, and well, that was silly. That was silly. Blixenpie has let's just try a ride on board with him so I can confirm. Unfortunately, there's got too much halo there. I can't see, but yeah, he's got damage. He tapped Wazzy at the back.
Left wing plate.
Tapped Wazzy at the back. So now he's gone from a strong position of a restart in third to he has to make a decision. He's got a fresh set of super softs, but is he going to come into the pits to fix that, or? Well, here's a question for you, Rob, since we're riding around behind the safety car with not much to commentate on. Rob, who has won the most races in the USA as a constructor? Most USA Grand Prix wins for a constructor. USA in general, not Circuit of the Americas. Counting Indianapolis, everywhere else they've been to 9 venues.
Ferrari.
That's right, Ferrari, 10 wins.
Ferrari or Williams?
Ferrari has had 10 wins. Can you guess who's got the most wins by a driver in the USA?
I'm gonna go for Schumacher. Which is probably the wrong.
Well, you're close. Michael Schumacher's second with 5 wins in the USA. But record holder in this actually goes to Lewis Hamilton, 6 wins.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's right, he won 2007, 2012, and then he won right through from 2014 to 2017. It's a really difficult situation to be in because now your wing is damaged. You know you're going to be compromised at the restart of the race, but if you do choose to go into the pits now, with the team snaking behind you like this, you're really just going to come out right at the back. So, do you risk it? See how the car feels and try to stay out? You don't really know until you get back up to top speed what that car is really going to feel like.
Yeah.
And obviously I've mentioned it so many times, I'm sure you're aware of the fact that I'm not a fan of those S's, and I don't know, if it were me, I wouldn't be too confident into those S's with a broken wing.
No, not with the amount of damage used.
Those S's are difficult enough, and that's when you've got all of your car. Just have a look at DW, still leading this race, and behind the safety car, followed by Wazzy and Blixenp. Safety car is in this lap. Safety car in this lap. Seems like we just had a restart. Well, we're getting another one.
About 4 or 5 laps ago.
No. But surely a car sitting in the middle of the S's. This was a needed safety car.
And DW goes for it. That's early. Ooh, and that's.
Ooh, he stops again and almost causes havoc behind him. Doesn't seem like anyone's been compromised. Was he still second? Looks to be third. Briefly going down to fourth. Henno made a move, but didn't stick. And there we go, we're racing again. Up the hill into turn 1.
And
Wazzy gets close.
Move on. Springbok. Warriors cut it turn 1 badly.
Warriors are now in 6th place. Got a brand new set of super softs, just 2 laps old. So he should have superior pace. As I say that, he goes into 5th. His next target will be Henno. And Henno's not that far up the road, just 2 seconds. 1.7 now, so Warriors are making up a lot of time. Let's have a look. Morris takes a 5-second stop-go penalty for ignoring blue flags. Don't want that. Blixenp still in 3rd, just trying to monitor his progress with that damage. Seems to be able to hold position for now, but he has a Merc breathing down his neck in the form of Henno, and we'll see how long he can hold that Merc at bay. Henno, while trying to get past Blixenp, he's got to watch his mirrors while Racer not far behind. Just a second in it.
We have a great battle for the lead.
Force India and the Red Bull really having a go at it now. Again, up the steep incline into turn 1. Red Bull covers the inside line. Nicely done. Seems like Wazzy got the better exit. Again, DW on the inside line. First one into the S's. Don't think you want to be going side by side through there.
No, that's not really a place to go side by side. Why is it all of a sudden down into 7 with wing damage?
And again,
Yeah.
these two so close.
And the two Toro Rossos are fighting for 5th.
Try and have a look at that, but we want to keep our eyes on that. Absolutely nothing in it. We go back to that battle. DW and Wazzy going side by side. DW going wide. Wazzy's taken the lead of this race. He's got the freshest set of tyres. What does DW do next, and how long does he plan on going before that first lap, before the first pit stop? Lap 20. He's in second place. It was at bay for a while. Wazzy has already extended that gap. It's already at a second.
The Wolf had a massive spin. I don't know what happened, but the two Toro Rossos were battling it out.
Well, we ride there with Wolf at the moment, and look at that front wing. It's in terrible condition. He comes into the pits. There's no way he can get around this circuit with a wing that looks like that. Probably red damage both sides. Dead Seeker now goes around the final corner, so he will be promoted to 9th place as Wolf still sits in the pits. Springbok Gamer still in 8th place. It's in a bit of a bubble. 15 seconds behind the car in front and 10 seconds in front of the car behind. So a little bit lonely at this point in time. Staffy 7th in the Ferrari. And he's actually coming up on Cowboy. So we could see a battle for 6th in the coming laps.
Even 5th because Cowboy is also close to Y-Racer.
Seems like that battle for the lead has been decided for the time being. Wazzy now 2 seconds up the road. The only way I can imagine this race coming back to DW is later on in the race when he does pit and comes out on a much faster tyre. It's fastest lap for Wazzy, a 1:38.1 in clean air now. Let's have a look. Morris, the only remaining McLaren, in 11th place.
Only 11 drivers left.
Looks to be another 3-second time penalty. Staffy a 3-second time penalty. So the time penalties are just flying at us.
And guess where did Luxembourg get that 3-second time penalty?
In the S's.
With the broken wing?
In the S's.
So that's the only problem he's gonna have about now is that Y-Racer gets past Eno and Staffy as well. Or a lot of guys does.
You know, now at the back of that trio, got Cowboy, Staffy and Heno, nothing in it between the three of them. Heno just the sole remaining Merc for this race. Lost his teammate earlier on, Captain Ice. We had a few retirements actually, 5 to be exact. Weza, Gavin, Vino, Captain Ice and the judge. Well, they all haven't made the distance. And then Ronald, he actually got disqualified. Heno having a terrible entry there into the pits. Actually hit the barrier a little bit. That's going to cost him a lot of time. Staffy 6th, still chasing down Cowboy. It's 0.5 of a second in it. Just having a look at the times here on my screen, this is probably the closest battle on track. which is
Juarez and Blackson.
Wolf's just gone fastest with a 137.9 in the Red Bull. That's on a set of ultra softs though. Showing some pace here on lap 23.
Juarez is going for the move on Blackson down the inside. Before the braking point, Blackson late on the brakes. Juarez has it.
So much has happened, just 11 riders left in this race, and we're not even at half distance. I think it's one of the, I think it's one of the more difficult tracks when it comes to 100%. There are some tracks I get pretty easy. I get through pretty easy on the 100%, and there's some tracks where I really feel it. I don't know if you have noticed, but do you see it's getting quite cloudy? They're light for now, but there's actually quite a few clouds out there.
Yes, there is.
They don't look dark or menacing right now, but we know on this game how quickly those can build up. See, I don't have any communication with any drivers. I would have loved to have asked for a weather report. So who knows what's still coming down the road. Might have to finish this race on intermediates, who knows. But that's all speculation. Wazzy still leads this race. He's now extended that gap to DW to 6.5 seconds. And this is where it's...
a move on Blackson.
Cowboy Tour. Ooh. Blackson, you don't want to lose more of that wing. Stay off the back of the Toro Rosso. Ronald has now left the session. So the Toro Rosso of Cowboy doing a fantastic job. 4th place. Nothing wrong with that. Just behind his two senior team members at Red Bull Racing. Robbie, what do you think would happen if something crazy happened and they designed this amazing chassis for Toro Rosso and Red Bull just couldn't beat the Toro Rosso? I say they would just swap chassis.
Yeah, I would laugh first, but yeah, they will swap chassis.
Well, talking about Toro Rosso beating a Red Bull, there is one thing that Toro Rosso can always say, and Red Bull can never get it back. Toro Rosso won their first race before Red Bull, courtesy of Sebastian Vettel.
No, Sebastian Vettel.
Sebastian Vettel won at Monza
and Staffy gets
in the Toro Rosso before Red Bull ever got a victory.
In full wets.
That's when we knew there was something.
Out of shape.
So I find Blackson. There we go.
Position to Staffy.
Runs wide now in the S's. He's having a difficult time. I thought that's where he would have the worst possible time with a broken wing. Is in those fast flowing corners. You've got the S's in sector 1, and then in sector 3 where you've got that long right-hander. If you don't have the downforce at the front, you just understeer and go off track. And on certain occasions, that counts as corner cutting.
Again.
Have a look now, we've got a Reynolds and a Haas. CK in front for now.
Nice move by Dave CK.
Nicely done on that set of ultra softs. It's absolutely flying for the time being. Needs to make those tyres work for him while they still can. We know they don't have the longest operating window. Now his next target would be Blixenp, and Blixenp is quite a ways up the road, 17 seconds. Blixenp has lost serious ground with that wing. Makes you wonder if maybe it would have been better just to come in. Because I mean, sometimes the amount of time you lose in a stint with a broken wing, you could have actually made the pit stop with all the time you've lost. So he's in 6th, but he's 6.5 seconds adrift of 5th place. So Staffy in the Ferrari, he's in 5th. He's having a great race. Seems like he's just been able to stay out of trouble in the top 5. Just 2 seconds up the road. It's Cowboy. Maybe a potential battle coming there. So as it stands, Force India, Red Bull, and Toro Rosso. Which is just Italian for, well, you guessed it, Red Bull. Scuderia Toro Rosso. Wow, Racer still in 3rd. I think even if it were to stay like this would be a really great result for Red Bull. 2 cars on the podium. Still got a long way to go. Lap 28 of 56. So we're actually at half distance on this current lap. So Rob, that basically means most other leagues you would have just crossed the finish line. And here at TnB, still got halfway to go. Started with 17 runners. 11 drivers remain on track. Deep blue. There is 1 or 2 clouds, but nothing that I wouldn't say rain in any, like, maybe at the end of the race, but anytime soon, I don't think so. Looks quite bright actually.
And we now have a battle for 4th. 0.7 of a second.
Cowboy and Staffy. Now down the straight. Staffy with DRS, not close enough. It's awfully close there to the Toro Rosso, but not close enough to make the move. Decided against it, but the battle for 4th will continue. The only close battle on track for the time being, so we'll stay with it. Staffy runs a little more wide than he would have liked. Gap now 0.7 of a second, 0.8 of a second, so he did lose a bit of time there, ran wide. Now he'll still have DRS. Unfortunately again, just too far behind. Couldn't make full use of that DRS. So no move for the time being. Just waiting for the right moment. Waiting for a mistake. Luxembourg's race has quieted down. At one stage he looked like a strong contender for a podium position, but under safety car he actually went into the back of your current race leader Wazzy, managed to break off a piece of his wing. He made the decision not to go into the pits and change his wing, and unfortunately he's just been going backwards down the field. So you wonder if it wouldn't have maybe worked out better to pit. Currently in 6th place, 12 seconds adrift of Staffy. Seems to be holding the gap down to Death Seeker for the time being. EW now having a lonely race, 2nd place, 12 seconds behind Wazzy, 9 seconds ahead of Y Racer. So also in a bubble of his own. Sometimes it's not a bad thing, Rob. Get a bit of clean track and just, you know, throw in a few good laps. All alone on circuit, nothing to obstruct you. And actually get in the zone.
The only positive thing about being behind another driver is you don't lose your concentration that quickly.
I actually find sometimes when I'm right behind someone I set my fastest laps. Red Bull still 2nd and 3rd. Toro Rosso in 4th. Staffy still chasing him down, so that battle for 4th has not been decided just yet. If you have a look at the tyre choices there, Rob, Cowboys in 4th, Staffy's in 5th. Cowboys got the softs, and Staffy's got the ultra softs. But both of them have 13 laps on them. So Cowboys should have the superior tyre at this stage. But Staffy's able to stay with him.
He's running wide.
It's running wide because those tyres are, well,
unhappy.
If you actually have a look at DW, still on that set of softs. So they can go a long way. Done 30 laps of them now. I think Staffy would be very happy with this result, currently 4th. Could get 3rd, but the only unfortunate thing is those tyres on his car. I don't know how much longer they're going to last before they start dropping off. Currently 0.8 of a second. Springbok Gamer now picking up a 3-second time penalty. To add to the list of multiple 3-second time penalties across the drivers that we have no way of keeping track of. And we're not going to try. Going to have to wait for the final result.
Go and check.
Well, you can go and check, but do it closer to the end of the race. No point in counting it now. It'll probably look very different by the time we finish this.
There's a lot of stop-goes and a lot of warnings, but not that much penalties actually. And now they're starting to come.
Rob, I'm not sure what happened there, but Y Racer has lost. I think he must have come into the pits. Cowboy is up into 3rd place. Staffy has also gone past Y Racer. It's the only thing that makes sense to me.
No, I think Y Racer made a mistake. Yeah, Y Racer was in the pits because he's now on a set of softs.
Was the only thing that made sense to me was that he made a pit stop or he made a very big mistake.
He made a pit stop because he was on the super softs. And he's now on the softs.
If I remember correctly, he was about 8 seconds behind DW. DW still yet to pit. 31 laps on that set of softs. We see now Y Racer doesn't plan on having any more pit stops. Springbok Gamer goes fastest lap of 1:37.9. Well done to the man running down in 10th. Nicely done. Well, that didn't last long. Wazzy says, no, my record. Takes it right back.
Sorry, John.
No problem, I was just going to ask if you were still with us.
DW into the pits.
W now into the, well, he's on his way out of the pits, but that's promoted Cowboy to second place. DW third, Staffy fourth for the time being, Y Racer fifth. And Staffy right behind DW. 8/10 of a second in it, but I don't think he's going to be much of a threat to the Red Bull driver. DW will have a brand new set of super softs on that car versus Staffy's 16 lap old ultra softs. Y Racer's in 5th. 12 seconds adrift of Staffy. So I'm not sure what happened there. Was it just a pit stop? Or was there a pit stop and a bit of a mistake?
I think he made a pit stop. I think he made a pit stop and changed for his front wing.
He's now 14 seconds behind his teammate. With that Ferrari in between the two. Have to wait and see how far can you take a set of ultra softs. Staffy currently 16 laps.
Battle for second.
Red Bull coming up on the back of the Toro Rosso. Will the Toro Rosso fight back?
No.
No, he lets that go. I think Christian Horner picked up the phone and said, move now. Cowboy let him go quite easily. I think he just thought, okay, well, I've got 17 laps on these softs. Not going to be able to challenge. Just let him go. But he's 35 seconds behind TnB Wazzy. I just don't think that the difference between the two compounds will make up that difference.
There's a battle for ninth. Or not anymore though.
Was a battle for ninth. 1.5 seconds in between 9th and 10th. Obviously, Morris still going around in 11th. He's the only man out of the points. Just 11 runners.
Staffy made a pit stop.
DW fastest lap. Nicely done. A 1:36.8. See, now he's on the quicker tyre towards the end of the race. It's just unfortunate that that gap is, well, 35 seconds. Rob, what would you think of a third safety car roundabout now?
It will make for interesting ending because that means TnB can get rid of those shots.
Absolutely.
And that will fresh set of tires.
Right.
It's a battle for 6. Lexington still with that broken wing.
He's done 23 laps on that set of super softs. And he obviously wants to stick to his strategy. He doesn't want to change his tyre strategy. So he hasn't come in for that wing. But definitely he's just losing time. Now the Haas of death car that's not missing any pieces makes as they go through the S's. I think that's probably the most difficult part of the racetrack for him right now. Part of the circuit where you need to change direction quickly. They're just running wide a little bit, allowing Death Seeker to get really close, just half a second. They'll be side by side up the main straight over the start finish line. Death Seeker should have the inside line and does. Takes the position. Let's see, can he hold his line? And yes, he does. Death Seeker takes 6th place, and Blixen he goes down to 7th. At least now he doesn't need to be too concerned. Got a bit of a cushion down to Springbok Gamer. Almost, well, 15 seconds. That dropped quite a bit for my eyes. Now Death Seeker in 6th place. Doing a good job today. Ferrari of Staffy still in 5th, but also in no man's land. Car in front of him 8 seconds ahead, car behind him 14 seconds behind. Cowboy picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So gotta keep that in mind. I think what Wazzy and DW, I haven't seen too many warnings for them. But everybody else on this grid that has a gap of 6-9 seconds, the way these are racked up, I'm sure there's guys here with 12-15 seconds worth of penalties.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be absolutely certain until we go over that finish line of where these guys are finishing. I think it's also something they could incorporate into the game where you could see total penalties added up, not listed the way they are now.
Yeah, that could help a lot just for the commentators.
Also give the commentators a weather report.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff gets one. It's not always right, but he does get a weather report even if it's broken. I'd like a weather report even if it's broken. Back to the front, Wazzy continues to lead this race. The gap has come down ever so slightly, but I don't think that tyre is going to make enough difference. The gap was 35 seconds, it's now 32. So GW's been able to pull 3 seconds back.
Wireless is catching Cowboy. And Steph is catching Y-Racer.
Y-Racer wants his podium position back. Probably doesn't want the Toro Rosso to beat him either. He's bringing Staffy along for the ride.
Springbok Gamer got past Black&T, but Black&T made a pit stop.
Getseeker now into the pits from 6th place. Had a gap down to Springbok Gamer of 19 seconds. So I think Springbok Gamer will get out just ahead of the Haas driver. Probably going to come out in 7th.
Yeah.
Springbok Gamer got past earlier than I had expected. Goes through turn 1 as Getseeker exits the pits. Well, he's only lost 1 position, he's down to 7th. Oof. Cold tyres.
I think around lap 45 we're gonna have a battle for the final podium. If it continues like this.
Watch Cowboy, he's in 3rd place. Got a gap of 4.5 seconds down to the Red Bull of Y Racer. Black&T again now, 3-second time penalty. Take all those 3s and add them up together and it could be quite a scary result change. That gap continuing to come down, Rob. Just 4 seconds now, taken another half a second out of the Toro Rosso in that last lap.
39, so it might even be earlier.
And we were briefly down into the 3s. But let's see now after the S's section. And he's taken another 3/10 out of him just in the S's. 3.6 seconds now. And I think we could even see him catch him at this rate in the next 3 laps. But then that's where the penalties are going to come into play. If you want to get a podium, you're going to have to be 3rd and some sort of crazy gap.
Have a gap.
But it's really difficult to work it out. I mean, you can work out Y Racer's penalties, but then and say, okay, well, that guy's going to pass Y Racer because of the penalties, but then you need to go count that guy's penalties too, to make sure that they don't cancel each other out. So, really difficult to keep track. Lap 40 or 56, 16 laps remaining. It's 2.7 seconds now. Gap continues to come down. So both Y Racer and Cowboy both on sets of soft tyres. Cowboy's tyres are a little bit older though, by 9 laps. And Y Racer just taking chunks out of it now, 1.7. I said 3 laps, it might be just 2. 1.4 seconds. Second Toro Rosso there in 9th place. Just 1.6 seconds, getting really close. Maybe those gains are just going to slow down a little bit as he's got the Toro Rosso ahead of him. Start thinking of places to and another penalty, and that's something Y Racer is going to have to be careful with. I have seen his name pop up a few times, and if you land up taking the podium by 4 or 5 seconds, you could get quite a disappointing result. Staffy 5.4 seconds behind Y Racer, so he's actually made up a bit of ground. Was 6 seconds behind Y Racer. Now he needs to make the most of it. He won't know this, but up the road from him, Cowboy and Y-Racer really close together now. He could probably make up a bit of time while these two fight. I'm not sure they'll fight long enough to bring Staffy into the equation, but he can close that gap as much as possible.
Already down to 4 seconds.
Down the straight, he would have just caught a glimpse. As he turned onto the straight, these two were about halfway down the straight, but he can see them. And sometimes that's all the motivation you need. When you just see those cars getting closer, it makes you go even faster. 4.5 seconds there. Maybe Staffy will still arrive on this battle. Cowboy 3-second time penalty.
Cowboy now gets.
So Y-Racer and Cowboy stacking up the 3-second time penalties. So effectively we actually don't know who's third and who's fourth in this current situation.
Oh, Y-Racer. Oh,
Y-Racer going to the inside quite aggressively.
Oh, contact.
Runs a bit wide on the exit, and it seems like there was away with that. And side by side, I think Y-Racer's got it this time. He runs wide, but I think he's going to have DRS. He's going to have DRS, and it's just going to help to get...
Yeah, and slipstream.
Well, he's chosen not to activate DRS.
Surprise.
That was but he chose not to activate it.
Yeah.
Could have seriously assisted him in with cancelling out the slipstream a little bit.
It didn't do that much, and he's still going
at it. Love the racing.
Look, and I think it has it.
There we go, Y-Racer up into third. Will Cowboy make another go at it? Not close enough, doesn't make a move into turn one. Now he must be careful, he can't just simply accept fourth place. Staffy just 1.3 seconds behind now. And he's on a faster tyre and a much more fresh tyre at that. So he's going to have the superior pace when he does catch up to that Toro Rosso. Cowboy's going to have his hands full. He's got a bit of a breather now, but not for long. At the front, the gap has stabilized, hasn't really changed in the last couple of laps, still 32 seconds. Y-Racer, further 23 seconds down the road from his teammate. Red Bull currently second and third. We've got a Toro Rosso down in fourth, Cowboy. It's 1.2 seconds now, the gap down to Staffy. It's your top five. And another one.
Staffy within DRS of Cowboy.
That's right, that gap has dropped to below a second, so now gonna have the benefit of DRS. Hasn't helped him get past just yet. Cowboy holding his own. Cowboy had an amazing battle a few laps ago with Y-Racer that lasted multiple laps. And now he's having to do it all again. His mirror's full of red. Will he be able to keep him keep his Ferrari behind him.
Staffy surprisingly not going for the slipstream.
Got the superior tyre, super soft. Goes on the outside, hoping to get the superior traction. Didn't quite work out that way, stays behind for now. But he really does have 4th place in the bag. He can just be a bit patient. He's got the faster tyre, plus it's 12 laps younger. He does have the advantage at this stage.
Was he made a pit stop? Surprisingly.
Made a pit stop, came out on super softs. And Blitzenpi's been disqualified from the session for receiving multiple penalties. Well, I'm not sure if I've seen that. Well,
It's the first time in TnB that's...
I think that's the very first time I have ever spectated and seen that. Is that too many corner cutting? Is that what?
Corner cutting and exiting, crossing pit lane exits.
Well, if that's the case, there's a few drivers currently on track who need to be careful. I've seen their name tons of times. There we go. That's why he went. That's why he went to the super soft tyre. He wanted to get that fastest lap. These two still at it, the Ferrari and Toro Rosso. The two Italian teams on the grid having a go at each other. Scuderia Toro Rosso versus Scuderia Ferrari. Toro Rosso holding its own for now. Staffy just hasn't really been able to get himself into a good position. He activates DRS now down the main straight, head up the hill to the iconic turn 1, and chooses not to go for the inside line. He didn't get close enough. Y-Racer now with another 3-second time penalty. And Y-Racer's in third with a comfortable gap of 8 seconds, but if you think about all these penalties, 8 seconds is really nothing. It's 3 of those penalties.
Yeah.
But Blitzenpi, too many penalties. I've never seen that. It's actually promoted Morris now up to 10th. McLaren drivers just kept it on the track. Oh, and look at this. Staffy and Cowboy. They got close there.
Oh, yeah.
And Staffy's actually... Staffy got awfully close, almost made contact, and I think he had to jump on the brakes a bit. And it's cost him almost a second. So, yeah, they got awfully close. I was actually waiting for contact. I paused, and there was no contact, but they were awfully close. And surely Staffy had to jump on the brakes again. 3-second time penalty this time for Staffy. Multiple warnings. I wonder if we will see another disqualification.
Hopefully not.
Or was that maybe too many different types of warnings? Speeding in the pit lane, crossing the white line, cutting corners, or can you get it just by cutting corners too much? Springbok Gamer now. 3-second time penalty.
You can get it. Oh, Staffy goes.
I just think Staffy should be getting past Cowboy a lot easier here now. Those softs are 50 laps old.
Yeah, but Cowboy's running. He's using, he's utilizing his or using his ERS right while Staffy is running it on ERS too.
Cowboy at the moment, he's dropped his ERS, obviously trying to get some power. He's got it on 1 at the moment. He's just trying to keep some power for the straights. Compensate for the DRS. Just try and watch what he does now as he goes onto the straights. Still got the ERS on 1, and yeah, just like that, puts his ERS onto 5 just for the straight, and then turns it back down to 1. So he's just doing enough to keep that Ferrari behind him. Actually a really good strategy and clever driving. A lot to do on the controller. He's managing it for the time being.
Well, I think Staffy's waiting just a little bit more to the end.
Ooh. Activates DRS down the back straight. Thinks about it and then tucks back in behind the Toro Rosso. Sensible driving. Doesn't want to retire from a strong position like 5th. Springbok Gamer 28 seconds behind this battle, so he could have potentially had a very different race if he didn't have the misfortune at the beginning. And DW could have also been in a very different position had the safety car not compromised his strategy twice.
Yeah.
Actually riding on the front wing there briefly of Staffy. He's getting awfully close to that Toro Rosso. Really surprised he hasn't made the pass. Now as they go through the S's, he picks up another penalty. Track limits at this particular circuit extremely challenging.
They touch.
And there's contact. Now Wazzy picks up a 3-second time penalty. I think that's the first one.
No, it's the second that I've seen.
So that means he's got, have you seen DW pick up any penalties?
Not at all.
So then, if that's 6 seconds, this 22-second gap is potentially 16 seconds. That's why you need to be careful with these things racking up. It can change a comfortable lead to a loss in position in no time. Battle still hasn't come to an end. Toro Rosso versus Ferrari. Let's see what's happening elsewhere on the track. Springbok Gamer currently in 6th. 25 seconds adrift of a great battle up the road. Had a bit of misfortune in the beginning of the race. Could have been in a stronger position. Dead Seeker as well in 7th place. Found himself in a stronger position earlier on in the race. Wolf down in 8th. In the second Toro Rosso. Then the remaining Mercedes in 9th place of Heno. As well as the remaining McLaren of Morris currently going around in 10th place. Up for a point. That's his lead now, 24 seconds. So technically 18.
Ooh.
And a 5-second stop-go penalty for Staffy, so that will seriously impede his race.
He did it to avoid hitting the back of Cowboy.
It's definitely going to impede his race. That means when he does pit, he's going to have to sit there for 5 seconds before they do anything to the car. Just
I don't think he's
extends
gonna pit
your
again, Jono. So the time will be added and gets another 3-second time penalty.
Really don't want to see that message popping up on my screen again. They've got 5 laps to go. Hopefully no more disqualifications. It remains the same.
Mistake.
Remains the same. The podium will be Force India, Red Bull, Red Bull. Strong driver lineup Red Bull has this season. As well as Force India, it just was not been at the real stay. Well, they showed in 3rd place, so they kept it clean. Had a bit of a battle with Cowboy earlier. Managed to clear that. 5 seconds clear of Cowboy now.
Wasn't the gap at 7 seconds?
Well, between Y Racer and Cowboy, I see the gap at 4.7 seconds. And Staffy's just a second behind Cowboy. But he obviously lost, he said there was contact or he got really close and he had to avoid it. That obviously compromised him. But he's coming back at him. Just 0.3 of a second again between the Toro Rosso and the Red Bull. These two are having an epic battle. Simply now leaving the session.
Staffy opening the DRS very late.
Seems like not fully utilizing his DRS. I noticed two or three laps back he did wait a bit late to activate it, not getting the most out of it. And then Cowboy just playing with that ERS and using it at the right time, really managing it well. Currently got it switched right down to 1 through the corners. And then when he gets to that straight, he's able to put on the power. And Staffy just can't get close enough, not even with DRS. It's really close into the corner, but nowhere near close enough to make a pass, and just runs a bit wide there on the exit of turn 1. Something we've actually seen both Ferrari drivers do today multiple times. Gavin ran wide a few times before retiring. Looks like we'll be interviewing Wazzy. in the driver interview.
And DW.
Former commentator.
Oh, Steffi doesn't go for it.
Oof. Really close, just bobbing and weaving, trying to get side by side. Cowboy just doing enough to hang on to that 4th place. Epic battle on track, but another 3 seconds for Steffi. I've seen guys get so many penalties that it really makes me wonder what Blixenp did. Gap has opened up slightly between Cowboy and Steffi, almost a second. Just getting a bit of breathing space. As I say that, it comes down again in the S's. 7/10 of a second. Now onto the pit straight. Does he utilize DRS from the get-go? He does. See if he can get into any closer now. Fortunately, my co-commentator has left the session. I'm not sure if he still has visuals. I'm sure he'll be back with us shortly. You can still hear him. You just can't see what's going on. Well, the only real action on track at the moment is that fight for 4th place. Still hasn't come to an end. Neither one of these drivers have given up on it or settled for a position. They're fighting for 4th. Steffi's been trying endlessly over the last couple of laps, but just really good ERS management from Cowboy.
Oh no, man.
And Rob now doing what I was doing earlier. Okay, he's joined again, lights up our screens with his name. We're on lap 56 of 56. This is the final lap. Almost feels like the second half of the race was much quicker than the first half of the race. I'm not sure why. It's been a great drive by Wazzy on his return to TnB. He obviously wasn't around for round 1, but he joined us today and didn't disappoint. 55-second lead. He's then followed by DW and Y Racer, 2 Red Bulls. And then Cowboy still holding on to 4th. But we really have no way of knowing who's who here. We know these two both have accumulated quite a few penalties. Just go back with Wazzy. It's now in sector 3 of the final lap. It's gonna go around the final corner. It's already starting to weave, celebrating early. He can do it. He's got 36 seconds on the clock. Just hope the Renault doesn't collide with him on the way through. But there we have it. Wazzy takes the victory. Nicely done. Great return. Stellar drive. Made it look easy. Let's go back to second place to DW. So now approaching the final corner. I think he'll be happy with this result. Talking to him a bit earlier in a practice session, he was saying he had no pace. So, nothing wrong with second place.
Sandbagging.
Nothing wrong with second place when the only man ahead of you is Wazzy. I think that's a great result.
Staffy made a move, but he couldn't make it stick. So now comes the interesting part. Who's going to finish where? Of third, fourth, and fifth?
Waiting now for Y Racer. Just needs to tackle this final corner for the last time. Goes over the line. Just to confirm that third place. He's slowed down dramatically here. And, oh wow. What was that? Did you see that on your screen? I was following Y Racer. He slowed down dramatically on the final straight, and in the process he's actually lost his third place.
He was on a third place in Tier 1, but he's not able to get it here. But I'll go and invite the drivers.
Great performance by YZ. Great performance by DW. And Cowboy gets on the podium at the end of the day, so I think that will be a welcome surprise for him. Probably wasn't expecting that 2 laps ago. Nicely done to everybody. Now we're just gonna...
unfortunately do not have Cowboy.
Going to try and get the drivers into the party chat so that we can ask them a couple of questions. Let me see if I've got Cowboy. Seems like I don't. Well, we have Wazzy with us. We might as well begin. Wazzy, on your return to TnB, a nice victory. Victory by 35 seconds. Do you think the safety car worked out well for you? You basically came out of the pits and DW had a bit of a lead, and then obviously the safety car numbed out that lead completely. But you happy with the drive overall? Glad to see the pink car back at the top of the podium. We had a few unfortunate retirements today, but Gavin was doing well until his demise. Well, carry on. Well, a great return. So you're happy with it, and I hope we see you more often in the championship. Let's see what happens. Well, let's go to second place. We don't have third place with us, unfortunately, but we can speak to the man in second, DW. Just missing out there at the end on a Red Bull second and third. It really came down to a lot of penalties. I think it worked in your advantage. I didn't see your name on the penalties too often, or at all. Oh, nicely done. It could have been a 2-3 for Red Bull, but you happy with your own performance? You happy with second place? Either you were seriously sandbagging in practice, pulling a Wazzy, or you just found a lot of pace you didn't think you had? Well, that's unfortunately we don't have Cowboy. He actually finished third. And if somebody can actually ask why Racer what happened at the end of his race. It was very strange. Was in third place, went around the final corner and slammed on brakes. Well, he didn't check the gap between him and Cowboy actually caught up to him on the main straight, and there was contact just before the finish line. But because of the penalties, he actually earned himself a podium, Cowboy. So Red Bull just missing out on that double podium again. No, it's really good. Congrats to him. Add me on your friend list if you want to get invited. And yeah, thank you everybody. Thanks Rob for joining me in the commentary box. Thanks for the entertainment, guys. And we'll be back next week, same time. What track? I'm terrible commentator. What? There we go, Belgium. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy.